Commander Alan Wright felt sweat trickle down his neck as he stared at the stars through the main window of the USS Defender. The ship had been Earth's pride when it left 5 years ago, humanity's first real deep space vessel. Now it felt small and fragile, like a rowboat in an ocean storm. "Commander, they're calling again," said Lieutenant Samantha Bell from her seat at the communications station. Her voice was steady, but her knuckles were white as she gripped the edge of her console. "Third time today." Alan took a deep breath. 5 months ago, they had been explorers seeking out new worlds. Now they were diplomats, soldiers, and possibly hostages, all at once. "Put them on screen," he said, straightening his uniform jacket. "And someone get Major Daniels up here." The large screen at the front of the bridge flickered before revealing the alien. Even after 3 months of talks, the sight of Ambassador Curvex still sent a chill through the crew. It looked almost human, if humans had smooth blue skin that shimmered like fish scales and eyes the size of teacups, with pupils that changed color based on mood. "Commander Wright." The alien's voice was strangely beautiful, like music played on glass. "Your delay tactics grow tiresome. The Council requires Earth's answer now." Behind Alan, the bridge door slid open as Major Frank Daniels arrived, his face grim. The ship's second-in-command had been against these talks from the start. "Ambassador." Alan kept his voice calm and diplomatic. "As I've explained 6 times now, Earth's government system requires consensus. I've sent your demands through our relay, but—" "Not demands," Curvex cut in sharply. "Terms of protection. The Galactic Council offers shelter to developing worlds, like yours. Without us, the Dren Collective will find your planet. They do not offer terms." An image appeared beside the alien. A planet that looked like Earth, but with continents Alan didn't recognize. As they watched, red spots appeared on the surface, spreading like blood through water. Within moments, the planet was covered. "The Dren consumed this world 3 of your months ago," Curvex said. "Their technology detected its radio signals, just as they will detect yours. They were not Council protected." Alan fought to keep his expression neutral. "And your protection requires Earth to give up 20% of all its resources and place our military under your control. That's a high price for safety we're not sure we need." The alien's eyes shifted from blue to deep purple. "It is the standard price for all worlds at your development stage. The Council has protected over 400 species this way. Without us, Earth stands alone." "We've been alone before," Frank muttered under his breath. The alien's massive eyes swiveled toward the Major. The warrior speaks. Major Daniels, I believe. Tell me, how would Earth's primitive weapons fare against beings that consume planets? The Dren do not invade, they transform. Every living thing on a taken world becomes Dren. Their last meal had 9 billion sentient beings." Alan stepped forward, drawing the alien's attention back to him. "We've sent your terms to Earth. Messages take weeks to travel, even with our best relay technology. We need more time." "Time is the one thing you lack," Curvex said. 6 weeks of silence from your homeworld is concerning. Perhaps your leaders do not understand the gravity of the situation. After the call ended, Frank moved to Alan's side, keeping his voice low. "They're pushing too hard, something doesn't add up." "Agreed," Alan replied, studying the tactical display that showed their ship surrounded by 3 massive Council vessels. Each one made the Defender look like a child's toy. If they truly wanted to protect Earth, why the rush, why the threats? Lieutenant Riley Peterson, the ship's young tactical officer, looked up from his station. "Sir, I've been analyzing their weapons systems. Those ships could destroy us without even trying. Why haven't they just forced us to take them to Earth?" "Because they need our cooperation," Alan said slowly, pieces falling into place. "They need Earth to agree willingly." Samantha called out from her station. "Commander, I've been running deep scans on their communications during that last transmission. There's something strange. They're broadcasting on frequencies we shouldn't be able to detect." Alan moved to her station. "What do you mean?" "It's like they're talking to someone else while talking to us. I can't decode it, but the pattern suggests coordination with other ships." "Other ships? Where?" Frank asked, his hand moving instinctively to where his sidearm would be if they were planet-side. Unknown, Samantha replied, but definitely not the three we can see. The Defender's science officer, Dr. Eric Wells, had been quiet during the exchange with the alien, but now he spoke up. Commander, I've been reviewing all our data on the Council since first contact. They've told us about dozens of worlds they've protected, but not once have they let us speak to any of them. Good point, Alan said. In fact, they've kept us isolated from all other species. Frank's eyes narrowed. Almost like they don't want anyone to tell us what Council protection really means. A heavy silence fell over the bridge as the implications sank in. Sir, Samantha said suddenly, I've just checked our outgoing message logs. All our transmissions to Earth appear normal in our systems, but the deep scans show something else. Our messages are being altered somehow just as they leave our ship. Alan felt a cold certainty settle in his stomach. The Council is monitoring our communications, maybe even changing them. Or blocking them entirely, Frank added. That could explain Earth's silence. The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. 6 weeks without word from home was troubling enough under normal circumstances. Now it seemed sinister. Look, Alan said, pointing out the main viewport. The 3 Council ships were changing position, moving into a triangular formation with the Defender at the center. It wasn't an attack posture, but it effectively cut off any escape route. They're boxing us in, Frank said quietly. No, Alan replied, thinking of the alien's eyes shifting to purple when Frank had spoken up. I think they're getting nervous. They expected Earth to agree quickly, and the silence is making them uneasy. As if on cue, the communications console beeped again. It's them, Samantha said. They want another call. Put it through, Alan ordered, his mind racing. Ambassador Curvex appeared again, but this time there was another alien beside him, a tall skeletal being with gray skin and eyes that glowed yellow. Commander Wright, Curvex said. This is Enforcer Zalkri of the Council Security Division. He has concerns about your ship's scanning activities. The new alien leaned forward. Your crew has been probing our vessels with unauthorized deep scans. This is a violation of Council protocol. Alan felt a surge of fear, quickly replaced by determination. They had stumbled onto something important, something the Council wanted to hide. We're simply trying to understand our new potential allies, he replied smoothly. Isn't knowledge the foundation of trust? The yellow eyes narrowed. We will be boarding your vessel in 1 hour for inspection. Prepare your crew. As the screen went dark, Alan turned to his officers. I think we just ran out of time for diplomacy. Whatever the Council's real agenda is, they don't want us figuring it out. And they're done waiting for Earth to respond. Your orders, sir? Frank asked. Alan looked at each of his bridge officers in turn. These people had trusted him through 5 years in deep space. They deserved the truth. I think we're being played, he said finally. And I think Earth might be in terrible danger, either from these Dren creatures or from our so-called protectors. We need to find out which, and we need to warn home. Even if they are blocking our transmissions? Samantha asked. Alan smiled grimly. Then we'll just have to be more creative. The Council ships are moving into position around us. They're watching for any sign of resistance. So let's give them something else to watch instead. General Patricia Martinez stared at the giant screens covering the wall of Earth's Defense Command Center, hidden deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. 6 different screens showed 6 different alien ships, all massive, all powerful, and all hanging just outside the edge of their solar system. They've been there for 2 days now, said Colonel Diane Foster, pointing to the largest ship. No movement, no communication attempts, just watching. Patricia nodded slowly. And still no word from the Defender? No, ma'am. Not for over 8 weeks. The room was silent except for the soft beeping of computers. 20 of Earth's top military and scientific minds were gathered here, but no one knew what to say. Their first deep space mission had made contact with aliens, sent a few urgent messages about something called the Galactic Council, and then gone silent. Then, a week ago, the alien ships had appeared at the edge of their solar system. What do we do if they approach Earth? asked one of the admirals. Patricia's face remained calm, but her eyes showed a hint of something unexpected. Satisfaction. "We stick to the plan," she said. "We play dumb." Dr. Gregory Howard, a thin man with thick glasses, stepped forward with a tablet. "General, the last message we received from Commander Wright warned us about these aliens. They claim to offer protection from something called the Dren Collective, but demand control of our military and 20% of all Earth's resources in return." "Protection racket," someone muttered. "Exactly," Patricia agreed. "The oldest trick in the book. Find someone vulnerable, scare them with a threat, then offer safety for a price." She touched a control panel, and the wall screens changed to show Earth, but not the peaceful blue planet most people knew. This view showed a web of thousands of tiny dots surrounding the planet. "Project Silent Shield is complete," she announced. "As of yesterday, we have full coverage." The scientists in the room looked impressed. The military personnel looked relieved. One young officer raised his hand. "Ma'am, for those of us new to the project?" Patricia nodded to Dr. Howard, who explained, "For the past 30 years, Earth's governments have been secretly working together. While the public saw us fighting and competing, we were actually building the most advanced defensive system in human history." He zoomed in on one of the dots. It showed a small satellite barely larger than a car. Each of these contains quantum camouflage technology. Together they can hide Earth completely from detection. No signals in, no signals out. "We'll be invisible to any scanning technology we know of." The young officer looked confused. "But if we've had 30 years to prepare, why are we just finishing now?" Patricia smiled. "Who says we just finished? That's what we want them to think." She pressed another button, and a second image of Earth appeared, this one showing a much denser web of satellites. "The real Silent Shield was completed 5 years ago," she said. "What these council ships are detecting now is just the outer layer, the part we want them to see. They're watching us build our defenses and thinking they've caught us still. Vulnerable." Colonel Foster pointed to a flashing red dot on one of the screens. "We're detecting an energy spike from the largest ship. They might be preparing to move." Patricia straightened her uniform. "Perfect timing. Let's proceed with the next phase." She nodded to a communications officer, who began typing rapidly. "What are you doing?" asked the young officer. "Sending them a message," Patricia replied. "One they'll have to respond to." On the main screen, text appeared. "Unknown vessels. This is Earth Defense Command. Identify yourselves or withdraw immediately." Dr. Howard looked alarmed. "General, are you sure that's wise? Commander Wright's report suggested these aliens are far more advanced than we are." "That's exactly what they want us to think," Patricia said calmly. "And it's what we want them to keep thinking." The room waited in tense silence. 3 minutes later, the communication system beeped. "They're responding," the comm officer announced. "Video transmission. Put it on screen," Patricia ordered. "And remember, everyone, look surprised and scared." The largest screen flickered, then showed an alien face, blue-skinned with enormous eyes. It was exactly as Commander Wright had described in his messages. "Earth Defense Command." The alien's musical voice filled the room. "I am Ambassador Curvex of the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic relations with your world." Patricia stepped forward, her face a perfect mask of cautious uncertainty. "This is General Patricia Martinez. We were unaware of any Galactic Council. How did you find Earth?" The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "Your deep space vessel, the Defender, encountered our patrol ships 3 months ago. Have they not reported this contact?" Patricia exchanged concerned glances with her team, the practiced move looking natural. "We received initial messages about your council, but communications have been spotty. Our ship has gone silent." "Most concerning," the alien replied, though its tone suggested it was anything but concerned. "Perhaps there were technical difficulties. Fortunately, I can explain our presence. The galaxy is a dangerous place, General. There are threats your species cannot imagine, particularly from an aggressive force known as the Dren Collective. The Council offers protection to developing worlds like yours." Protection? Patricia asked, letting suspicion creep into her. Voice. At what cost? The alien seemed pleased by the question. Merely reasonable contributions to the collective security of all protected worlds. 20% of your planetary resources and oversight of your military development to ensure compatibility with Council defense systems. Patricia looked appropriately shocked. That's a significant request? It is the standard arrangement for all species at your development level, Kirvex replied smoothly. The alternative would be to face the collective alone. Their ships are already approaching this sector. The alien's image was replaced by a star map showing a red mass moving toward a point labeled Earth. We can discuss details when my ship arrives at your planet, the alien continued when the image returned to his face. We should begin the integration process within 1 of your weeks. After the transmission ended, the room erupted in murmurs. Patricia silenced them with a raised hand. Exactly as we expected, she said, her voice now brisk and confident. They're following the same script they used with Commander Wright. They start with offers of protection, move to demands, and then to threats. But what about this Drenny? Collective? Asked the young officer. What if that threat is real? Dr. Howard removed his glasses. We've detected no sign of any other alien fleet approaching our system. Just these council ships. And more importantly, Patricia added, Did you notice how eager they were to come directly to Earth? No neutral meeting point, no gradual diplomatic process. They want to bring their ships right to our doorstep. Colonel Foster nodded. Classic invasion strategy. Get your forces in position before revealing your true intentions. Patricia turned back to the screens showing the alien ships. They think they're dealing with a primitive, frightened species that will give up its freedom for protection from a threat we can't verify. They have no idea what we've been preparing for. She addressed the communications officer. Send a response. Tell them we need to consult with our world leaders. Say we're surprised and need time to prepare for their arrival. Make us sound disorganized and a little afraid. How long should we stall them? He asked. Patricia's smile was cold. Just long enough to spring our trap. Dr. Howard looked worried. But General, even with Silent Shield, if they're as advanced as they seem. We're counting on their arrogance, Doctor, Patricia replied. They think they've seen through our deception, that they've caught us building our defenses, but they've only seen what we wanted them to see. She walked to a smaller screen showing a different kind of satellite, larger, with strange antennas protruding from all sides. While they're watching our defensive grid, they're completely missing our real advantage. She touched the image gently. The silence protocol. And what exactly will that do? Asked one of the admirals who hadn't been briefed on the most classified parts of the project. Patricia's eyes gleamed with fierce pride. It won't just hide Earth, Admiral. It's going to make us disappear completely. And when we reappear, it will be on our terms, not theirs. Commander Alan Wright tried to look calm as 4 armed alien guards led him through the twisting corridors of the massive council ship. The hallways seemed to shift and change as they walked, making it impossible to remember the way back. Quite a security system you have, Alan remarked, trying to sound casual. The moving walls are a nice touch. The guard closest to him, a tall being with scaly red skin, made a sound that might have been a laugh. They do not move, human. Your mind simply cannot process the true shape of council architecture. That was not comforting. After what seemed like miles of walking, they arrived at a large circular room with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. In the center stood 3 aliens, Ambassador Kirvex, whom Alan knew well by now, and 2 others he had never seen before. One looked like a giant lizard standing on 2 legs with yellow eyes that never blinked. The other was strangest of all, a floating crystal shape that glowed from within with no clear face or limbs. Commander Wright, Kirvex said, his musical voice echoing in the large room. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Alan almost laughed. 4 armed guards had shown up at the Defender's airlock. It hadn't exactly been an invitation he could refuse. Of course, Ambassador. Always happy to strengthen our diplomatic ties. The lizard-like alien stepped forward. I am Security Director Esthax. it said in a harsh, rasping voice. And this, it gestured to the floating crystal, is Observer Luminar. The crystal pulsed with light, but said nothing. Curvex moved to a large table in the center of the room. With a wave of his blue hand, a 3D image of the solar system appeared above it. Earth's solar system. Commander, the alien said, his tone suddenly less friendly. We have been monitoring your home planet while awaiting their response to our protection offer. Alan kept his face blank. As I've explained, our communication system is limited. Earth's leaders are likely still considering your terms. An interesting theory, Esthax hissed, but we have detected something concerning. The image zoomed in on Earth, which was surrounded by a web of small dots. Your planet has activated an advanced defensive grid, the lizard alien continued. Technology that, according to our information, your species should not possess. Alan felt his heart rate increase but fought to keep his expression neutral. I've been away from Earth for 5 years. Our defensive capabilities may have advanced in that time. The crystal being, Luminar, pulsed brightly, and a soft, musical voice filled the room, seeming to come from everywhere at once. The technology signature matches quantum camouflage systems. Such technology is restricted by council law. No non-member species should have access to it. And yet, Curvex added, Earth appears to have not only obtained it, but deployed it on a planetary scale. Alan's mind raced. General Martinez had warned him this might happen. The Silent Shield project had been in development for years before the Defender launched, but he had been told to act surprised if the aliens discovered it. I don't know what to tell you, he said, spreading his hands. As I said, I've been in deep space. Perhaps Earth scientists made a breakthrough in my absence. Esthax moved closer, towering over him. Or perhaps your planet had help. The Dren, maybe. Alan blinked in genuine surprise. The Collective? Why would we work with them? According to you, they want to consume our world. Curious, said Luminar, floating closer. Your vital signs show actual confusion at this suggestion. Because it's ridiculous, Alan replied. Why would we ally with a threat you've been warning us about? The 3 aliens exchanged glances. Tell me, Commander, Curvex said slowly. In all your communications with Earth about our offer, did you mention the resource contribution we require? Of course. 20% of Earth's resources plus council oversight of our military. It was the first thing I reported. Another look passed between the aliens. And what response did you receive? Asked Esthax. Alan chose his words carefully. As I've said repeatedly, we've received no clear response yet. Luminar pulsed rapidly. Your heart rate increased again. You are hiding something. Damn these aliens and their ability to read human vital signs. Alan needed to change tactics. Look, he said with a sigh. The truth is, Earth's leaders are worried. 20% of our resources is a massive ask, and military oversight sounds a lot like surrender to many humans. They're stalling while they try to figure out if your offer is genuine protection or just a fancy form of conquest. The crystal being's pulsing slowed. He speaks truth now. Curvex nodded. Commander, let us be direct. The Council and the Dren have been enemies for thousands of years. We find promising species and offer protection. They find the same species and offer a partnership, which really means consumption, added Esthax. As opposed to your protection, which demands significant resources and military control, Alan countered. For the first time, Curvex looked uncomfortable. The terms may seem harsh, but they are necessary. The Council protects hundreds of developing worlds. The resources we collect fund our defense fleets. The military oversight ensures compatibility with our systems. Alan wasn't buying it. And once a world accepts your protection, do they ever get to be truly independent again? None of the aliens answered immediately. That told Alan everything he needed to know. Luminar floated to the table and the image changed, showing a different view of Earth. This one revealed a second layer of satellites, larger, more advanced, hidden behind the ones the Council had already detected. We have detected another system activating, the crystal being announced. More advanced, more concerning, Sithax hissed angrily. They hide their true capabilities from us. Kirvex turned to Alan, his large eyes now a deep purple color. Commander, our scans indicate Earth is preparing to activate something called the Silence Protocol. Our data suggests this is technology that would cut your planet off from all detection. A complete blackout. Alan kept his face carefully blank, but internally he was shocked. How could they know about that? The Silence Protocol was Earth's most closely guarded secret. I have no knowledge of any such protocol. He lied. We believe you, Kirvex said, surprising him. Because we believe your ship's communications have been limited, not by technical difficulties, but by Earth itself. That was actually true, though not in the way the alien meant. The Defender had been sending false messages, making it look like they were pleading Earth's case while actually gathering intelligence on the Council. What are you suggesting? Alan asked. Your planet has been preparing for something like this for a long time, Kirvex said. The defensive grid, the Silence Protocol, the lack of response to our offer. Earth is not acting like a world that just learned of alien life. And now we've discovered why, Sithax added, pressing a control on the table. A new image appeared, a crashed spacecraft, clearly not of human design, but also different from the Council ships. It lay half buried in what looked like a desert. This vessel crashed on your planet 74 of your years ago, the lizard alien said. In an area you call New Mexico. Alan's blood ran cold. Roswell. The rumors were true. Earth has had alien technology for decades, Luminar stated. You are not the primitive species you pretend to be. Kirvex stepped closer to Alan. The Council gave your world 60 days to respond. That deadline expires tomorrow. When Earth activates the Silence Protocol, as our projections indicate, they will. You and your crew will remain here as our guests. Alan understood the threat. They would be hostages. And if Earth doesn't activate this protocol you're so worried about? He asked. Then Council ships will arrive at your planet tomorrow to begin the protection integration process, Stack said, with what might have been a smile. Either way, Commander, the game of deception is over. As Alan was escorted back to the shuttle that would return him to the Defender, his mind raced. He needed to warn Earth immediately, but he knew the Council would be monitoring all communications. Back aboard his ship, he gathered his senior officers in his quarters, had the room swept for surveillance devices, and then simply wrote on a piece of paper. They know about Silence Protocol. Plan compromised. Initiating contingency Omega. Major Frank Daniels read it, his face going pale. Are you sure, sir? Alan nodded grimly. Get everyone to the escape shuttles. We've drilled for this. What about you? Asked Lieutenant Samantha. Bill Allen's expression was resolute. Someone has to stay to make it convincing. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the underground command center as General Patricia Martinez rushed into the room. Alarms blared from every console. Report, she shouted over the noise. Colonel Diane Foster looked up from the main tactical screen, her face tight with worry. We've received an unauthorized quantum transmission from the Defender, ma'am. It bypassed all standard channels. Put it through, Patricia ordered and held her breath as the screen flickered to life. The face that appeared wasn't Commander Wright's, but Major Frank Daniels. He looked exhausted, his uniform torn, and behind him, emergency lights flashed, just like in their own command center. This is Major Daniels of the USS Defender, he said urgently. General, we have only minutes before the Council detects this transmission. Commander Wright is staying behind to buy us time. What happened, Major? Patricia asked, stepping closer to the screen. They know everything, Frank said, his voice barely steady. The Council has discovered the Silence Protocol. They mentioned it by name. A cold chill ran through the room. That project was Earth's most closely guarded secret. How? Patricia demanded. Our security was perfect. Unknown, Frank replied as the image started to break up with static. But they specifically said both they and the Dren have seen this technology before and know how to counter it. Dr. Gregory Howard moved to Patricia's side. pushing his glasses up his nose. If that's true, our main strategy is compromised. There's more, Frank continued, fighting to be heard through the increasing interference. The Council claimed the Dren have been trying to contact Earth directly, offering partnership instead of protection. Have you received any such messages? Patricia exchanged alarmed glances with her team. No, nothing. That's what we thought, Frank said grimly. The Council has been blocking any communications from the Dren, controlling what we know about them. Which means neither side is telling us the full truth, Patricia concluded. Exactly, Frank nodded. Commander Wright ordered us to implement Contingency Omega. Most of the crew escaped in small shuttles using stealth technology. We're scattered, running dark, heading for the edge of this system. The transmission began to break up badly. Frank's image freezing and jumping. Listen carefully, he said, his voice dropping to nearly a whisper. Wright discovered something important. The Council isn't just worried about the Dren finding Earth. They're afraid of us. Afraid? Of humans? Colonel, Foster asked in disbelief. They don't just protect species from the Dren. They control any species that might eventually become a threat to them. Frank's face was deadly serious despite the breaking transmission. According to what Wright overheard, human brains work differently. We think in ways they can't predict. They've been watching our TV and radio signals for decades, and they're worried about how fast we learn and adapt. The image froze completely for several seconds before jumping back to life. They didn't choose Earth for protection because we needed it, Frank continued. They did it because they're afraid of what we might become in a few hundred years. Patricia leaned closer to the screen. And the Dren? What do they want with us? The same thing, apparently. Both sides want to control us before we can become a real player in galactic politics. The transmission was breaking up more severely now, Frank's image flickering in and out. Wright's last order was to tell you, activate silence now, not in 3 days. He's creating a diversion that should... The screen went black. For several seconds, the command center was completely silent despite the flashing lights. Then Patricia took a deep breath and turned to her team. It seems we've been playing someone else's game without knowing all the rules, she said calmly. That ends now. She turned to Dr. Nathan Bradley, the quantum physicist who had designed the silence protocol. Doctor, activate the protocol immediately. Nathan looked alarmed. But General, we haven't completed all the testing. Now, Doctor. Patricia's voice left no room for argument. And if both the Council and the Dren have countermeasures, we need to change our approach. As the team rushed to follow her orders, Patricia moved to the main display that showed Earth's defensive shield grid. She studied it thoughtfully for a long moment. Dr. Howard, she called to the xenobiologist, you've studied the Council communications extensively. What's your assessment of their psychology? Howard looked surprised by the question but answered quickly. They're extremely orderly and methodical. They plan in terms of centuries, not years. And they value predictability above all else. And that's why they fear us, Patricia said slowly, a small smile forming on her face. Humans are anything but predictable. Over the next 24 hours, as the silence protocol engaged and Earth vanished from all detection systems, Patricia's team worked frantically to implement a completely new strategy. The defense satellites were reprogrammed, communication systems rewired. 7 days later, when Council and Dren scout ships began cautiously approaching the solar system, they found something completely unexpected. Instead of Earth hiding behind an ineffective quantum shield, they found a solar system buzzing with activity. Thousands of small ships moved in patterns that made no strategic sense, broadcasting messages in dozens of languages on all frequencies. Some seemed advanced, others primitive, all of them confusing. In the Council flagship that had arrived to oversee the forced integration of Earth, Ambassador Kirvex received the initial reports with growing concern. They're not hiding, he said in confusion. They're performing. It appears to be a deliberate display of chaos, Security Director Thax agreed, studying the sensor readings with narrowed yellow eyes. We cannot determine their actual capabilities or intentions. Observer Luminar's crystalline body pulsed rapidly with agitation. I detect the quantum signatures of at least 40 hidden stations throughout the system, but their purpose is unclear. And their communications. They're broadcasting what appear to be battle plans, but they're obviously fake, designed to be intercepted. The Dren collective ships on the other side of the solar system were equally confused. Their hive mind struggled to process the seemingly random actions of the human defenders. Back on Earth in the command center, Patricia watched the alien fleets on the main display with quiet satisfaction. "Neither fleet is advancing, Colonel," Foster reported. "They're holding position, just watching." Dr. Bradley looked up from his console, grinning. "The modified silence protocol is working perfectly. Instead of hiding us completely, it's showing them exactly what we want them to see. Controlled chaos. And what they're seeing is a species too unpredictable to safely engage," Patricia concluded. "A system too confusing to risk attacking." Dr. Howard entered the room, excitement on his face. "General, we've received a quantum burst transmission. It's from Commander Wright." Patricia straightened. "He's alive? What does it say?" "Just 3 words. Keep being unpredictable." Patricia smiled as she looked back at the strategic display, which showed the alien fleets beginning to slowly withdraw from the solar system. Earth hadn't won, not yet, but they had gained something perhaps more valuable: respect born of uncertainty. Earth's silence had indeed been the Council's final warning, but not the way they had intended. It had been a warning that humanity would not be easily categorized, controlled, or conquered. That sometimes the most dangerous opponent isn't the strongest, but the most unpredictable. As the alien fleets retreated further, Patricia issued new orders. Maintain the chaotic defense, patterns, and prepare a diplomatic team. I think both sides might be ready for some actual negotiation now, on our terms. In the darkness of space, aboard one of the Defender's tiny escape shuttles, Major Frank Daniels received the coded signal that Earth was safe for now. He looked out at the stars, thinking about Commander Wright, still a prisoner aboard the Council flagship. "We'll come for you," he promised quietly. "Just keep them guessing a little longer." And somewhere millions of miles away, Alan Wright sat in his council cell, smiling to himself. He could feel the growing confusion and frustration of his captors through their changing attitudes. Earth's greatest weapon had turned out to be something no alien could have prepared for: human unpredictability. The Council and the Dren had expected either surrender or a futile attempt at hiding. Instead, they got something that didn't fit into any of their careful categories or strategies. They got humanity, in all its chaotic, creative, unpredictable glory. And for the first time in thousands of years, the great powers of the galaxy were the ones who didn't know what to do next.